Hi, everybody. I'm actually getting on TikTok live right now and I'm making a YouTube video. I really just wanted to talk to y'all about mental health. I don't know the celebrity who recently unalived himself, but I do want to talk about the effects of mental health and um, not actually feeling like you can speak to people when you are the strong person in everybody's lives. I don't know this man's story. I don't know nothing about him. I just know that he was a celebrity. He was on Ellen DeGeneres, and that everybody who's made any videos about him talked about how happy he was and how he always brought joy to everybody. So I just wanted to start there because that is the person that I am in everybody's life. I'm always the happy-go-lucky person in everybody's life. So when I moved out of town last year, nobody knew that I was in hell. Nobody knew that I was being abused every single day because I'm a social media influencer. So I was posting on social media every day, all my social media accounts, um, posting videos of me and my kids being goofy, blah, blah, blah. Uh, Back then I used to cuss a lot. So like it wasn't irregular for me to be just listening to the worldly music and to be like cussing or something. Like that was just normal for me. So I've always kept accounts of what's going on in my life through videos and through pictures. Because when you are in a mental rut, you forget a lot. And for me, I've been in a constant mental rut since I was a child. So I've always taken a lot of pictures and a lot of videos just because for me, when I have those memories, I can go back in my phone. Like I could sign into my email from back when I was a teenager and go back and look at pictures and videos, and it'll remind me of the times that I skated through. I was the person making everybody laugh in the room, but I barely remember what happened that day. But when I look at the pictures, I can remember what happened that day. So a lot of the times your strong friend is not necessarily someone who looks like they have a problem. A lot of the times your strong friend is the one who is showing absolutely no issues at all. They're the one who is always making everybody laugh, who is always being goofy, who always having people over their house, and they probably also give a lot too. Because I know that I'm always the one, hey, you can come to my house. I got dinner, I got lunch, I got this, I got that. When I used to smoke, I got the weed, I got the liquor. Like when I used to do that stuff, I was always that one that people could call or people could come over and they didn't have to worry about nothing. I don't want you to have to bring nothing from your house to my house. But that shows you that that's usually somebody that's going through something though, because you feel like what you have to give shows your value. It's kind of like buying friends without even feeling like you're buying friends. And I'm making a YouTube video, so I'm looking this way. But it's like buying friends is your norm. I've always been in a situation where I felt like I needed to give, and it was not like somebody was forcing me to. It was just me. When me and my best friend were roommates, I was paying most of the bills, not because she didn't want to, but because I wound up letting other people move in. So instead of me and her paying half and half like we were, she had me start paying more of the bills because she's like, you got more people staying here. So I was paying a higher percentage of rent and a higher percentage of utilities. And it went from that to we were having parties all the time, and I was constantly buying the liquor for everybody, and I wasn't even drinking at the time. And so it went from that to as an adult, I was in a relationship where he wasn't working. He wasn't working, but he was calling all the shots in the house. And he was also abusing me. But like I said, I was in a mental rut my whole life. So I really can't blame my abusers. That's something I talk about a lot, my abusers. But I don't blame them. Yeah, they were crappy for what they did to me. And then when I finally did decide to leave, my ex-husband was crappy for trying to unalive me, for trying to leave him. But at the end of the day, we were both broken, and I chose to cling on to a broken person because he fixed my brokenness a little bit. It wasn't a lot because, like I said, he was abusing me. He was cheating on me. He was not a good fit for me. But when it was good, it was good. Like, I look at this girl on TikTok sometimes. Her name is E. Kane. And she talks about, she shows videos actually of her and her children's father. When they're good, they're good. Like they post videos dancing together, they do TikTok games together and all that. But when it's bad, it's bad. Like right now, I think she said she's on day 12 of not talking to him. And this man is stalking her. Like, he's literally coming to her house, banging on her car, trying to get into her house. She said he tore her Christmas lights down and then he came to her house and put them back up. Like, he's just been doing some crazy stuff. And so that just kind of reminds me of me. My baby daddy, he never had to do nothing like that because he always had access to my house. Like, he would abuse me, but I never got my house key back. Did I try? Yes, I tried. But he would always be like, yeah, I'm going to give you your house key back. But he would never give it back. He liked to come over while I was asleep. Or he would come over while I was gone. And he would bring people with him. But there was a point in time where I said, no, you're not allowed at my house no more. He had beat me really bad after I had our second child, which I had 3 kids by that time, because I had 1 child by my ex-husband and 2 by him at that time. And so I took all my kids. I'm talking about my baby daddy. So I had took all of my kids with me to my sister's house. I tried to leave him. So this is how I kind of can relate to Ekane. If y'all know Ekane, she's this girl who she got her TikTok fame talking about how she was SA'd by her uncle when she was a child, and so that caused her to not care about her body, and she wound up catching like almost 100 bodies before she turned 18 or something like that. She got famous on TikTok talking about that. Now she has millions of followers. And so she's still messed up in the head because she never went to therapy for it. So her baby daddy, abusive, doesn't work, but he's a good father. So that was her reason for still staying with him. But are you really a good father if you abuse the mother of your children? If you have your son putting his middle finger up to his mom, you're showing your daughter that being abused is what men is supposed to do to women. Like, are you really a good father? That's why I had to get my children away from their father, because I felt like he was a good father, but when he would get mad at me, he would hit the kids too. And not just a normal hit. He got really aggressive with it to the point that I would have to stop him. And then he'll start hitting me for stopping him. So we got to think about the mental attack that it is on a mother to be getting abused in front of their children, and then trying to protect your children too. Because you're like, man, if I thought you loved me, you could do this to me. What you going to do to these kids? Because these kids come from me. So that's the way that it kind of attacks your mental. So my mental state has been messed up for quite some time. And I left my children's father. My ex-husband was my first daughter's father. I left him in 2018. It's now 2022. But in 2018, I started dating someone else, and I had 3 kids with that man, and he was abusive. So I went from being a 19-year-old virgin to starting a relationship with a guy that lasted almost 7 years, and he was abusive and a cheater. But he was also so sweet. It was bittersweet. It was like, he was the type that he'll run you a hot bath, he'll massage your feet, he'll cook, he'll clean, all that. But he also was a cheater. It's like, how do you even find time to cheat? But he wasn't working. That's how he found time to cheat. I'm working. So when I'm not at home, he's doing whatever he wants to do. And then when I am at home, he's acting like he's not doing nothing. So that wound up lasting for so long that it was normal to me until I finally was like, no, this ain't normal. So when I left him, here comes the next guy. And I was still broken. And I was still trying to find somebody to make me not feel broken anymore. And so that is what mental health really is. When you don't know how to fix what's going on in your life, so you keep focusing on humans to fix it for you. But it's the glory of God that got me out of my situation. I never knew that I needed to run to God. I was putting so much energy into a man fixing me, but it always was a man who just wanted to take advantage of me. It was always a wolf in sheep's clothing. But I felt like, hey, if this man is not a good man, then maybe I just need to try to find someone else. And that wasn't the case. That didn't work. That actually put me in more of a rut, because now I'm a single mother of 4. One of my children's by my ex-husband, 3 is by my ex-boyfriend. So I only have 2 children's fathers. But it's 4 kids that I have no assistance with. And the only reason why I don't have help with them, to be frank, is because they were so abusive that it served my children best to not have their fathers in their lives. Their fathers cared so much about controlling me. It was never about the kids. It was never about the kids. It was always about, nah, you're not leaving. Because I'm always the type of person who makes sure everybody around me is straight. So if I'm making sure this man is getting multiple meals a day, if I'm making sure that this man has clothes because he didn't have no good clothes or no clothes, period, when we got together. If I'm making sure that this man has a house and a car, if I'm making sure that this man has spending money that he's winding up using on whatever addictions he has or using on girls. If I'm the one making sure this man has everything that he needs, why would he want me to leave? He never cared about me, and that's something that I had to realize, because when your mental state is not at its best, you start to feel like the people that give you physical touch or the people who are around you care about you. But when you open your eyes, you realize, nah, baby, they just around you for what you got. But I was always high. I'm like, hey, this is how I'm getting through my day. But if you got people that's always high around you, and you getting high to medicate yourself, you're not getting high just because you like getting high. You're getting high because it helps you get through your day. You got people around you that are looking at you to try and use you. Good morning. So it's like, if I'm doing this to get through my day and you're using me and abusing me and cheating on me, you're going to stay with me because you know that all you got to do is get me high, and then I'll let you do whatever you want to do. And that's exactly what it was every single day. And when I finally broke out of that, I felt a big weight come off of my shoulders. My mental health went to the gutter when my baby daddy broke my ribs because I felt stupid. He had already broke my jaw a few years before that, and I took him back because he wouldn't leave. And I can't use that as an excuse no more. Because even though he wouldn't leave, now that I actually did wind up calling the police to get away from him, I realized I should have just called the police. But he wouldn't leave. He wouldn't give me my house key back. He just kept popping up at my house. He wanted sex. He wanted money. He wanted this. He wanted that. I tell him no. He's going to take it anyways. So it came to a point where I just didn't care. I just left my door unlocked. I'm like, ain't no point in me locking the door. All you're going to do is unlock it anyways. Ain't no point in me trying to hide from you. You're just going to show up wherever I hide. So I gave my power away instead of exerting my power. So now that I moved my kids out of town, we've been out of town for over a year, and I did use the police and the domestic violence shelter to get away from him. Now I realize how much power I had that I wasn't using. And my children are so much safer. My children don't even barely remember him because they were all babies when we left. Like last year, my youngest was 2 months old. My son was 1. My other daughter by him was 2. And then my daughter by my ex-husband was 3. So yeah, they know they have a father, but they don't remember him like that. So I'm able to change the trajectory of their life and the way that they view love. Now, for a mother who doesn't do that for their child, your child is going to grow up only seeing that. And I know that for a fact because I was that child. My mom was with my dad since she was 16. She didn't leave him till she was in her 30s, and he was abusive and a cheater. So I say all of this to say that there is absolutely nothing that anybody can say or do to me that I haven't already seen. So now that I actually learned from what I went through, I'm not going to let that happen again, but that don't change the fact that it affects your mental health. And I started this video talking about mental health. I almost unalived myself more than once. When I was pregnant with my second daughter, I was in the middle of a divorce, and I got pregnant by this guy that I was just having casual sex with. He wound up turning into my boyfriend. But anyways, I got pregnant by him within a month of talking to him. I'm not ashamed to say it. Because me and my ex-husband were together for almost 7 years. He was the only person I ever slept with. So if you're in a relationship for almost 7 years with an abuser and a cheater, and you finally leave, you want to feel something different. And that's exactly what I did. I felt something different, but I got pregnant immediately. God was like, nope, you ain't about to start being no hoe. So I got pregnant immediately. And the type of woman that I am, my kids come first. So once I found out I was pregnant, nah, that was my boyfriend. Like, no, I'm not about to, no. You're my boyfriend, and we're going to make this work. Even though he started cussing at me and stuff. And that was my problem, because he hadn't hit me yet, because I was living in a DV shelter. Because I left my ex-husband, and my ex-husband tried to kill me. So I was living in a DV shelter, and I was meeting up with this man every day. We was having sex every single day, and that's how I got pregnant. And once I found out that I was pregnant, he blocked me on all his social media and said it's not his baby. I said, dude, you're the only person I've had sex with. So I was just gonna thug it out. But then I was like, nah, I can't do this, God. I'm in a DV shelter. I have custody of my nephew. I have a 4-month-old baby. No, she was 6 months by this time. And I was like, and I'm pregnant by a guy that doesn't want it. And he keeps telling me to have an abortion. I'm just gonna kill myself. That's what I was telling God. And I really had this talk with God. So I dropped my nephew and my baby off with my sister. And I was just crying. And my sister's like, what's wrong? I said, just make sure you take care of my kids, okay? And she didn't know what I was talking about. She thought I was just playing or something. Or she didn't, I don't know what she thought. When they say check on your strong friends, they don't tell you what to do when your strong friends don't allow you to check on them. Because she kept asking me what was wrong. I wouldn't tell her. She always saw me so happy. Um, when I left my ex-husband was the first time that they saw that I was in danger. But I'm living in a DV shelter now. They don't know I'm dating somebody else. They don't know what's going on, my sisters and stuff. So I'm like, just make sure my kids are okay. I'll go back to the shelter. I have this plan. I'm not going to explain the plan because I don't want to give nobody no ideas. But I have this plan if I'm going to take myself out and it was going to work. I'm in the room just walking around. Then I just start screaming like, ah, God, why did you let me do this? Why, da, 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 da. And I'm just yelling at God, just angry at God, coming from the pit of my soul. And when something's coming from the pit of your soul, God knows that it's urgent. He going to come to you. So God sent the angel. Them women in that DV shelter, they never used to leave their office, ever. You check in by waving at them. They never would leave their office. This lady came to my door and unlocked my door instead of knocking on it. It's against some rules. I don't know if it's HIPAA or what, but they can't just walk in your room. She unlocked my door and just hugged me. And I'm fighting her like, no, get off of me. She's like, no, just hug me. Whatever you're about to do, don't do it. And then I broke down crying. I said, I can't do this. It's too hard. She's like, what's wrong? I told her I was pregnant. She's like, you've only been in the shelter for a few months. And I'm like, yeah, well, every time I leave the shelter, if I'm not at work, I'm with my boyfriend. And my boyfriend just blocked me on everything because I told him I was pregnant. So I'm not doing this. And she looked at me in my face and I knew it was God talking to me. She's like, you're not about to do this. She said, you have so many different choices. There's adoption, there's an abortion, or you can have the baby and change your life, but you're not going to kill yourself. And I immediately snapped out of it because I don't believe in abortion. So I knew that was God telling me, girl, you about to deal with this baby. My daughter is almost 4 now. I'm so glad that I didn't kill myself because she would have never been born. Neither would my son or my other daughter after her. But anyways, like I said, when they tell you to check on your strong friends, they don't explain to you how to deal with your strong friends when they ain't gonna tell you nothing. So when I was with my ex-husband, my family never knew that he was abusive. They knew he was a cheater, and they only found that out because I left him a couple times. I would leave him and get back with him because I was addicted to him. But with my ex-boyfriend, I wasn't telling nobody nothing. I'm like, I just got out of this DV shelter and this man is abusing me. I can't tell nobody this. I remember after he had blocked me and cussed me out and stuff, he unblocked me. And that wound up being his way to communicate with me. Even when we were together, even when he was living with me, he had me blocked on social media most of the time. I literally was probably his friend on Facebook for about a month within 3.5 years. Because he did so much on his social media and he didn't care. He was blatantly talking to so many different girls. There was one point in time where he had this teenage girl that was his girlfriend. He was posting pictures with her. They got matching tattoos, each other's name on them, all that. It was all on his social media, but I wasn't friends with him on his social media, so I didn't even know none of this, but everybody else knew. So my mental health was so bad that I wasn't even checking to make sure that I was even secure in the situation that I thought I was secure in. But how could I have thought I was secure in a situation where I was being abused? So none of it made sense. It never made sense. It never made sense. And now that I'm out of it, I'm like, girl, that stuff did not make sense. You should have ran. You should have ran like hell. But I didn't. So now that I'm out and I go back and think about my mental health, therapy saved me a lot. I went to therapy when I first moved out here because I went to a DV shelter for my second time because my ex-boyfriend stumped me in front of my kids. All 4 of my kids were in that apartment. 3 of my kids was standing there watching and the baby was in the room. And he stumped me. But he did it multiple times a day for about 3 or 4 days. The last time he stumped me, I couldn't even get up. When I finally got up, I was like, I don't want this for my life. I don't want this for my life. He's going to kill me right in front of my kids. I don't want this for my life. So I told my mom what was going on. Finally told her. My mom's not the type to play. Once she found out it was a done deal, I was out of there. But it took me 3.5 years to humble myself enough to tell somebody. I was ready to leave him from the first time he hit me. Actually, I was ready to leave him when he blocked me on Facebook and Snapchat because I told him I was pregnant. Um, but he wound up breaking my jaw after I had that baby. He was already cheating, already doing a lot. Every time I tried to leave him, he would pull guns on me. Sometimes it wasn't even just because I was trying to leave him. He found a reason every day to either pull a gun on me or hit me, or both. Every day. Our whole relationship. So it went from me being with my ex-husband where it was like 80% blissful with him, but 20% bad. And it was good, When it was bad, it was bad. It went from that to being with my ex-boyfriend. He kept me pregnant. I was always pregnant. He hit me while I was pregnant. He cheated on me while I was pregnant. He cussed at me. He called me out of my name. He had so many different girls in and out of my house. He did so much to me. So I went from demanding respect, not getting it, but still staying with my ex-husband, to not even demanding respect from my ex-boyfriend. My mental state had gotten so bad that I wouldn't even demand that he respected me. He mainly called me a bitch. He barely called me by my name. Barely called me by my name. Barely called me anything nice, ever. But I was scared to leave him. So when you have strong friends and you try to check on them, they don't tell you how to check on people that don't tell you nothing. Because I was still posting, like I said, every single day on social media. My social media is growing. Nobody knew what was happening behind that. Half the time, right before I made a status, I just got my tail whooped. Or right before I got on TikTok or Facebook making a video, I just got my tail whooped. Or he just cussed me out. Or he just came in the house and snatched all the money out of my wallet. Most of the time when I got online, it was because seeing myself look happy felt better than dealing with the emotions I actually had, which was sadness, regret, fear, wanting to unalive myself. All those emotions I had, I felt like I couldn't deal with them. So I would just take pictures and videos of myself to make me feel better. Watch my kids online to make me feel better. Watching them in person too, of course. Nobody was taking care of my kids but me. But I kept myself consumed in work and being a mother and being on social media. I did not pay attention to the fact that my life was ending right before my eyes. So I almost unalived myself a couple of times in that relationship too. Like, my parents' mental health was not the best, and they would always run to trying to hurt themselves. So that's really, I encompassed that. I wound up getting that trait from them. It was passed down. Your life ain't going good, just try to kill yourself. Instead of going to therapy, or instead of talking to somebody, you don't talk to nobody about what's going on with you. You just take yourself out. That's not the right way. So I say all this to say that if you're struggling with mental health, or if you know somebody that's struggling with mental health, the best way that you can support them is just by telling them that you love them. You ain't got to ask them how they're doing, because half the time, especially people like me, we ain't going to tell you how we're actually doing. Let's send a text or a call or a video or a picture. Tell them you love them. Or if you got some memories in your phone, send it to them sometimes. Just do that. That's how you can support somebody, because that can give them hope and pull them out of a dark hole that they never knew they was in. I'm about to end this YouTube video. I want to thank you for listening. If you got to this point, please subscribe to my YouTube. Go follow me on TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat. I also have a podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Anchor. The Rosie Experience is something where I'm very vulnerable, but I also am constantly sharing my healing journey, and I'm constantly helping other people out of the darkness. So if you are struggling with mental health, don't be afraid to reach out. And if you don't have anybody to reach out to, my DMs are always open. Y'all have a great day.